Them say hustle for the paper.
Hello, Ghana for Diamond Grand Real Estate Abamu Bibiara. Said the pennyfo ekayen. The ope adiako kotokono ya mona bro. Wope asasia ehoju. Asasia wone langard fo enyasem. Asasia ninkratansu eshiye pandia. Enwa ne Diamond Grand Real Estate. One sasano ewo dentra. Tebu ena afense pantimaira. We nyina ewo amasaman kwantempono eso metre. Owaga South mensinu emo. Asasia ye kan ho asemi die enkania ensuo ena afense akwan ededemu dada. Diamond Grand Real Estate echa kwan ewo Accra Tabora number 5 anampo se framu ewa homachofo isu 0552 487 385 0552 487 385 beto asase na wonso yentimi fro efiera esane enuma painting yato ye di no litigation no landguard. Diamond Grand Real Estate say your satisfaction is our pleasure.
Shade claim say he love you from a chick and home someone some inside. Onya Tina me na sorry do me no on back. Them say hustle for the paper.
Hello, Ghana for Diamond Grand Real Estate Abamu Bibiara. Said the pennyfo ekayen. The ope adiako kotokono ya mona bro. Wope asasia ehoju. Asasia wone langard fo enyasem. Asasia ninkratansu eshiye pandia. Enwa ne Diamond Grand Real Estate. One sasano ewo dentra. Tebu ena afense pantimaira. We nyina ewo amasaman kwantempono eso metre. Owaga South mensinu emo. Asasia ye kan ho asemi die enkania ensuo ena afense akwan ededemu dada. Diamond Grand Real Estate echa kwan ewo Accra Tabora number 5 anampo se framu ewa homachofo isu 0552 487 385 0552 487 385 beto asase na wonso yentimi fro efiera esane enuma painting yato ye di no litigation no landguard. Diamond Grand Real Estate say your satisfaction is our pleasure.
No defi se we asimo bi na de ko wano pa se shame na se mu fi nya se bi amini binti na ma shota me wa se ba su kan fi se we asimo die po na e mata Davida shade claim say he love you from a chick and home someone some inside onya tina me na be sorry do me no on back. Them say hustle for the paper.
Hello, Ghana for Diamond Grand Real Estate Abamu Bibiara. Said the pennyfo ekayen. The ope adiako kotokono ya mona bro. Wope asasia ehoju. Asasia wone langard fo enyasem. Asasia ninkratansu eshiye pandia. Enwa ne Diamond Grand Real Estate. One sasano ewo dentra. Tebu ena afense pantimaira. We nyina ewo amasaman kwantempono eso metre. Owaga South mensinu emo. Asasia ye kan ho asemi die enkania ensuo ena afense akwan ededemu dada. Diamond Grand Real Estate echa kwan ewo Accra Tabora number 5 anampo se framu ewa homachofo isu 0552 487 385 0552 487 385 beto asase na wonso yentimi fro efiera esane enuma painting yato ye di no litigation no landguard. Diamond Grand Real Estate say your satisfaction is our pleasure.
No defi se we asimo bi na de ko wano pa se shame na se mu fi nya se bi amini binti na ma shota me wa se ba su kan fi se we asimo die po na e mata Davida shade claim say he love you from a chick and home someone some inside onya tina me na be sorry do me no on back. Them say hustle for the paper.
Hello, Ghana for Diamond Grand Real Estate Abamu Bibiara. Said the pennyfo ekayen. The ope adiako kotokono ya mona bro. Wope asasia ehoju. Asasia wone langard fo enyasem. Asasia ninkratansu eshiye pandia. Enwa ne Diamond Grand Real Estate. One sasano ewo dentra. Tebu ena afense pantimaira. We nyina ewo amasaman kwantempono eso.
Sima enum memagana hwefo nyina ajo emamo akwaba ede eba Diamond Television so sabre ensema yaboabo no ewo man Ghana ene amahodo so ene ede ebeso mo se Diamond enwumre no nsia kasebo na kasebo no de bedimo akotin ebi a obetine se Ghana mampanyi His Excellency John Dramani Mahama sabre de wada na japade ede akire wo man no na nam so ama wode eye match bosome ne de toso aduasa baako ato ho ede ama wona wo pa wo mu enyina se wo mu so entietia na nanamo emu na ebiemo enso eye Ghana mampanyi asanso ahyebo SM wo behwe ekwan bia eso sede be ya wo man Ghana yesikasem ebetimi agina sede ese na efata na Interior Minister sabre wono so ede na probo ekokopiemu ewo eye Ghana Prison Service wo mo ehia kese no emu na eho ene wode ensam dodo na egu apno so ede ema wo mo na yede ani kopiemu ewo eye Asante Mantamo enso ede anachese eye Council of State abatwa ekoso na enam so ma basabasa ye esi en sabre ye enada ebra wo mo eto abano wo mo etimi eye de wo begina ede ama wo mo ewo Asante Mantam ensam wei ene dodo na ene yabo ano ayede ebeso mo se Diamond enwumre no nsia kasebo no nyumekwa eso masen ema mede ebeso mo eye Diamond Grand Royal Estate or say eba na ensase a nebo edafom enkane awoso enso ewoso na chese ne nkrata semon so ehye dia ene na menhwe ba bia se eye hwehwe wo matwa kwan na ene wo mo endi eye ensa woso sansa wo mo ensase ne de nebo edafom na mo sanso ewo enhwehwe ya wo benam so edi atua se wini sika no boa a wo de beto ni nyina abomu a omo wo hwehwe ya mo de begu ho amawa wo betua na won so wetimi aye asasira sanso ena Diamond Grand Travel and Tour tun sade afre wo bibiara a wo pese wo tukwan ekọ amanone na okokoye adwuma ewo honum se wo nsan no dwuma woni nsan no dwuma mu chuma na chese wo mabie wo mapono de ama eye obibia sa wo beba na wo mo ne wo edi eye ensa wo so website anase passport ena wo pese wo nyenso a wo mbehwe aye ede ama wakwanto ho nsem nyina akototin wo hwehwe metwa kwan abehu wo mo ewo La Paz Tabora number 5 on a Diamond TV ene wo dan kronwa emu afei so Ben Light Enterprise ese kan ho ne omabia se ye headlight tail light bumpers eye traffigators ene de keka ho enyina no wo mo ewo eye ni dosopo ewo wo mo akache na eneyi na jese discount kese pam ekoso ede ama Diamond ahwefo a wo betutu mrika aba ho no no nti wo hwehwe metwa kwan a enko ba bia se eye aboso kan City Light Junction ho ena wo behu eye Ben Light Enterprise ewo nyumeko wei ene dodo na ana asomasena ene enwumre mede eye enwumre no nsia kaseboy ebeso mo me amede ho chia me midin ene ekwia sikapa yentwa ye ho simaye ba ye bedo kasebo no mu esuko. Diamond ahwefo mesanso emamo akwaba ebiem afei kasebo no emu entremu eni Ghana mampanyi His Excellency John Dramani Mahama sabreye ede na kyerese wabe eye napono ede ama Auditor General se nhwehwemu bia wo mo beye no wama eye ekwan enunti sabre wadan na japade enyina edi na wogina eye Ghana ye mra a yegina eye eso eye Ghana Public Office Holder Declaration of Assets and Disqualification Act 1 1998 ene Act 550 eso ena chese wode eye na japade nyina de wowo a wode eba eye aban mu no wada ne di ede akire eye Auditor General na eno na nam so ema wogina sa kwanya no eso ebra na wo kasa no ede to dwa ese wono nso so awapa wo mo no omomo modin ase efri sabre ya ekokosi match boso me ne de to so aduasa ba ko no wo mo nso so ebeye sa pepepe na obi biara a wono de obeye na adwen se wontu sa na mo na chese wo pese yenyi no emfemfiri eye aban mu sei eno de nsam no to dwa.
All right, thank you very much. We've also been joined by Dr. Kalistos Mahama, Secretary to the President, and Mrs. Joyce Bawa-Muktari, Senior Presidential Advisor and Special Aide to His Excellency the President. At this stage, I will call on the Auditor General to receive the completed forms from His Excellency the President. Thank you very much, Mr. President and Mr. Auditor General. I now have the singular honor of inviting His Excellency the President to make a few remarks on why this ceremony is taking place. Thank you.
I was just looking at the statute on Assets Declaration, and under Article 286 of the 1992 Constitution, it names the President, the Vice President, Ministers and Deputy Ministers, Members of Parliament, and judges. And then again under Act 550, Public Office Holders Declaration of Assets, it includes public officers, including those in the civil service, public corporations, and statutory boards. Then it also includes chief executives of all public corporations. It includes district chief executives, and then members of the Council of State. There are many people in public office who do not know that they are covered under this assets declaration regime. And so, Auditor General, there must be a reminder to all these people that they are covered under the assets declaration regime. And so I have presented mine this morning, and let me make a few remarks. Senior government officials present, the Auditor General and staff of your department, we're very happy to have you here this morning at the presidency, friends of the media. I've just performed a simple but brief, very important act of presenting my completed assets declaration forms to the Auditor General as officers, Public Office Holders Declaration of Assets and Disqualifications Act 1998, Act 550. Ghana's assets declaration regime and its related activities have often been shrouded in secrecy, and only unless in special circumstances, compliance is often difficult to measure. In times past, I would privately have presented these forms to the Auditor General in fulfillment of my statutory obligation. I've taken this step of presenting these forms publicly as a way of injecting some openness and transparency into the process of assets declaration. I've always maintained that while it is all well and good to punish corruption, a more effective way of addressing the canker is preventing it from occurring in the first place. I honestly believe that if properly curated and enforced, the assets declaration process can become a sustainable tool for tackling corruption. Corruption by nature is insidious and thrives under the cover of darkness. The more light that is shown on it, the more likely that it will be fought successfully. I've also taken this step to send an unmistakable signal to all public office holders, especially those that I have appointed, that I take the declaration of assets very seriously and expect full compliance from them. I've asked the Chief of Staff to send word to all appointees to ensure that they declare their assets by the end of the first quarter of this year, that is by 31st March 2025. I wish to stress that any appointee failing to meet this deadline would face severe sanctions, not excluding removal from office. Even as we strive to hold past government officials accountable for their stewardship, I deem it even more imperative to enforce anti-corruption among our present public office holders. Charity, they say, begins at home. I'm therefore determined to take the necessary steps to ensure that we fight corruption vigorously so that the precious little resources that have been entrusted to us by the Ghanaian people are used only in their interest. There have been issues raised about the effectiveness of the current assets declaration regime. We must take advantage of the current constitution review process to strengthen the assets declaration regime to make it more relevant to changing times. I believe that we must move to a regime where the assets so declared can be published before and after public office, so that the phenomenon of unexplained and overnight wealth obviously earned through the proceeds of corruption can be checked. I trust that a healthy debate can be had over this issue and consensus built on the way forward, so that collectively we defeat the unwholesome canker of corruption. I thank you for it.
Abusiafo ye to akase ebono eso yegusua ejina mampanyin His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Nakache na ebra okoko piemu ewo eye Addis Ababa ewo Ethiopia womo African Business Forum no emu no wodin sembi etu edwa ese ebibi man sede eye wo baade adom yen ewo eye enuoma bi ehwo no ya momodin a se ye begina eye sa akwanya ya ye wo yi so yetimi ajusu sa enuoma no etimi de aboa eye ye man no amanatimi konkan said de ese na efata no wode ne nsam no etudwa na wo kire mu se enkane no na nanka na yeni eye akade a ye betimi ede adwuma no nti na wo broni befa eye ni mfidie ede efra ma no ne aba be piem wa bibimamu na wone yen aba be di eye adwuma na ebe kwakọ wie eche no yen kasa wo ba ade ne omode amaye ne be kwakọ wie eche no na chese yenya bibi keto abi ede efrim nanso eneyi aba fu mfidie no eyensa etimi akabinti yenhwe na yenfa eye eho kwan na yentimi emwama wo man no ene eye wiase afana nyina no entimi enko eye enkan.
But talking about trade and adding value, which is why we're here, I think that we must look at the comparative advantages we have as Africa and unashamedly exploit those advantages. And I can see that in the place of agriculture and agribusiness. I can see it in the area of our natural resource endowment. How are we indigenizing these natural resources? In the past, we didn't have capital, we didn't have the technology. And so large multinational companies came and took huge concessions, and they exploited it to their advantage. A lot of the benefits from exploitation of our natural resources went to the metropolitan capitals. Today, the capital is available if you want it and you look for it. Today, the technology is available. We have situations in Ghana where in the gold mining industry, the bulk of the mining actually is done by indigenous companies. You find the multinational company only where the gold is being poured. And so if we do all the mining, we do the drilling, we do the blasting, we do the crushing, we fill the crushing plants. I mean, we can do the last mile of also pouring the gold and making sure that the benefits of that gold come to our country. The same with cocoa. We've exported cocoa beans for God knows how many years, and still we export cocoa beans. There's some processing capacity, it's about 30%. We have the capacity to process almost 500,000 tons of cocoa, but we're not processing that much. We're processing at about 200,000 tons because the cocoa board that needs to be restructured believes that it gets immediate foreign exchange when the beans are traded, and we sell for it, and so they get the money in advance before we even export one bean. But bringing the value addition home will be bringing jobs back so that our young people can get jobs to do, especially putting that processing in the areas where the cocoa is grown. And that's why we're excited about the initiative between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, because together we produce about 80% of the world's cocoa. And so if we coordinate and work together, not only in terms of improving production, but also in terms of processing and bringing processing up to that chocolate, that last chocolate home, will create more jobs for our young people, because we all recognize that with a growing youth population, yes, it's an advantage for Africa, but if we're not creating opportunities for these young people, then it becomes a ticking time bomb. And so we need to look at all those areas.
Yet to Akasiabona as one as a Ghana man penny egusu and Shemuna Seno, one a Ghana for Binuma Womo, a war a Addis Ababa, Ekasaye, and a Wichimo essay. And nay said there a year a car amene womaye IMF who Bosia by a cockwaji and Nunti and name a car ababato or maye eso. Na a year Ghana ye see the non so no a nenim eguase and I just say Entimina Braneno or not Nabaya Bay or Beshe. Now it's me ama yesikasem etimin so ejina
Main focus and task ahead of this government is stabilizing the economy. You all know what our nation has been through, and it's not necessary for me to recount blow by blow what should have been done and what shouldn't have been done. The net result is that we have been going through a severe economic crisis, that is in terms of a very unstable macroeconomic environment. But as the problems are twin, not only the destabilization of our macroeconomy, but also the debt default. It's been one of the first time in known memory that Ghana has, had to swallow the bitter pill of telling the rest of the world that we can't pay our debts. And it comes with all the strictures of a defaulter that you have to go through. And so we had to go into an IMF program, and alongside the IMF program, do a renegotiation of our debts in order to have some of the debts taken off, a portion of it, and then stretch out the tenure for repayment. But that doesn't put us out of the woods. We have very serious payments coming up, and so the economic and finance team are working assiduously in order that we don't default again. This year there are two major payments, but those are on the domestic bonds, totaling about 15 billion cedis, and we've re-established the sinking fund, and so we're committing resources into the sinking fund to make sure that when we get to those payments, the two installments will be able to pay them, and then begin to look at how we can meet the obligations for next year.
Ghana man penny esanso eto aso de ensem eto edwa ese ade biara eye akwanside ede ema eye yedwadie ho ensem no wo behwe na wayi ede afri won wo kiremu anache se eye de ehayen pa kese eye yakwan a enye no eno kan wo bi ema eye dwadie nkutanwudie no entimi nko eye wano se de sene fata na wogina so ede eye Abidjan ene Lagos eye emfato ho mfa wo makwani abadie ehun na wo kiremu ese se yakwan eye na ebiemo enso ye port no yetimi etiremu a ebetimi aboa ema nkitanwudi a ewo eye abibiman mu no etimi akọ eye ne kwanso no wo kiremu a ebra na oye mampani abedi ekire no wode ne nsa ehye eye ntiase apam bi a wo hwe ni Moses a enhyehyeye na wo mudi gu akwam no ebetimi akọ eye nkanetimi aboa ama abibiman yebetimi di yehu yedwa ebeboa ama abibiman so etimi akọ nkan.
Area we need to concentrate on. Yes, it's good we have the African Continental Free Trade Area, but there are obstacles to trading amongst ourselves, and that is because the trade facilitation infrastructure is not available. Roads that lead between our countries are nothing to write home about. We don't have the rail transportation, we don't have the ports. We need expanded ports that are faster, handle goods in a faster way, and that's why I think that we must focus on what we call the trade corridors. In West Africa, we have the Abidjan-Lagos corridor. We don't have an expressway between the four countries that constitute, the five countries that constitute the corridor. There's been a lot of work on it from when I was vice president. We signed the initial MOU. I think we've made some progress. It's now left with looking for the financing to put the expressway in so that we can move goods from Lagos to Abidjan through Benin, Togo, and Ghana, and be able to trade easily amongst ourselves. I know there are more other corridors that exist, Lobito, Durban to Lubumbashi, and all that. How can we improve these corridors, improve the infrastructure, so that we can seamlessly exchange goods and services amongst ourselves? I think that's what's important. The African Continental Free Trade Area was a very important breakthrough, We've been working on this for God knows how many years, and we're happy that we have it at last. But how do we remove the obstacles to trade amongst ourselves? I think this is one issue that we should be looking at.
Yet so akase bono eso ye de ani bekwa kopiemo ewo eya asante mantem ne ho na eya asante hene otumfo oseitutu the second wakasa na nensem ode etu dwani nyina efa eya ekwan ya ebetimi asi eya efomagudi etu ayetu ewo eya ye kwaye mu ebiemu enso eho ene ebiemu ensase ayede esai ensase no wochiremu anachese empanifo ebetimi asi eya eho ekwan ya na enye mamu ana wo mu etu efomagudi no wo mom ene yebekwa akwacheche wo mu ne mom no wo mo enko eye emu esukopa enhwe wo mo hye chire a wo mo hye mamu anu putupa ema wo mo edi eye sa adwuma no wo mom na se yetimisa eso wo mo a ometimi ahwe ama efomagudi etu a eni emra kwan so no ni nyina ano etimi asi na wode nsem wei etu edwa ebra na eye lands and mineral resource Emmanuel ama kofi bua ekokopie mu ewo nakache na chese wo mo ekoko sere nanim se kwan ben so ena ombetimi ahwe etu efomagudi na ode sansem we egu akono so ede ma wo mo
se na etu enye ezo enso wosi ehunu kwan a be frɛ ni nyina ya na aswanti obi enya empanyimfo na de wo mo ko ho yempe wo mo obi enso o report en list wo mo nyina edi so yes, Minerals Commission for Survey Department for Geological Survey from Sukan. So I am a woman in a chair, say, a honey, and a year. If you had a year, a be. So, you're free woman, small scale mining for any woman, as in a had a year locate near supervisor. So, then Colane good forestry in a true Mako, penny way in a water man, not my. So, you two gold no so ya tua ka no mu so anya na ban so anya gold no ka. So, na so ya kire wo mu kwan ya de ya man. So, e san nsuo ho enko. Ayi forestry enko. So, as a kasi e pam wo mu a, wo be ka na na e duma ba ni enye. So, ma wo mu hu se munjai eno na de e sei ebiase na mo mumra ni yenhwe baabi ni ehu concession ya. Minerals Commission for nim baabi ebu geological survey ebu. I was say yetimi me ni brena yehu kwan ya. E de be fa so a antisa ebeje ensem. Na lands in some some so e de ahye mensa. So, yi had the sentiment had the preni so some de me ma kwa ma fa nya basipase. So, ko to asasi mi no na ewie. Na so be apenyo da wo nyina bibia so mon korhwe mra na ya hwa ma basabasa bia ni ha bia ba bin mo de na wo se yem so yem ye ne pre na ye hwe kwan ye be fa so abeye na mna yi na no ne ba le che se asumbia ba ko sa se hon so no e de nsempi ba so nsempi ba ti ni ze mo bia wo se de bo bia no e be ye ama bibia ye nse mo gidie so wa crash from so nya so beta wechi.
The community mining scheme that was brought, we need to revisit it and create a more community involvement and call it community cooperatives, and to ensure that indeed when we say it's community mining, it is the community. Make sure that we give them training, working with Geological Survey and the Minerals Commission to identify rare mineralized areas so that they can be more organized and managed properly with proper training. And with us, we are proposing a gold board, which will be a backstop to buy those gold from this, and so that we can really have a much organized systems of mining, getting them away from mining close to river bodies and on river bodies and forest reserves. And as President Mahama has committed, there will be no mining in forest reserves, and that is our commitment.
Sansam hona no na chese eye defense minister Dr. Omane Buama wone eye interior minister Muntaka Mubarak womo nso so ekokopie mu ewo nana ne nan ase na eno nam so ema eye otumfo sei tutu esanso ehye ebo ese eye ekwan bi obefa so a wo behwe ewo aye amamre ekwan emu etimi aboa ama entokwa ekoso ewo boko ene ne mpotemo no ano etimi abrase no wo behwe aye na din etimi akọ na perepere yensuso etimi akoso ewo eyeboko ene ne mpotemu
Ghana bank one assume soja procedure na idea she must say Ghana must be say on that that's how na the come on the by no break and you have and you have say maybe na mesa trust say to kwanone say the Ghana city no be able to see and really and so on the baby the position is here behind can be a first way be mass so therefore ne pose for the someone want the aso and so you be right some man some me can politics if politics in film one we didn't know so say people know was a flow as she said now I'm not back and so program we be to was a which Brazil camera, which my camera, why she was in a couple of
dispute na no Ghana buying and the share in sa President Kufuor buying inti bra mebeye defense minister ya hwehwemu yeguso a ye hwehwemu ye ne interior minister nso ono nso edi hujuma Chief of Defense Staff, Soldier for a Honso, Omafamudi. Na security nedia, and no agent yensa. Nanso, near a beboa ama a problem no, a free honor. A co beyond a security, and no ekahubi into nearby.
Say, I tell you, and my man, they be a lady, so I'm saying. Next year, it has as we didn't have that day to remember her. It's maybe a view of a shall say a share as a young swan. Who knew time of beer over here? Not a Jefferson. I say, it will be a 2 and a monkey, so the 2 by same maybe beer. So as we didn't have the soon the best trainer. What's me, a semi-daddy. It's said in the defense secretary. I don't know, I'm a baby, I'm a 2%. Yeah, but they were announcing. Now, I don't know how much I have the first one. Oh, boy,
Abusiafo ye to akase bono eso Minister for Interior Honorable Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak wonam ensrahwe kwan eso a wodinani ekokopie mu ewo Ghana Prison Service womo aso kese nu emu ne ho ena oni mpanifo a ewo ho ena ebiemu nso adwumayefo etwetwe ekomo ede ensem dodo na eto womo anim na ne nsemu na wo kire mu ese wo behwe kwan bia eso se ensanu dwuma a womo a prison for a woman eden na duafie wono no se etiye se ebiemu adepam ne keka wo mbehwe no matere emu se de beya se womo efri na duafie wono mo asanso aba womo memeye adesoa emfama woman no na sei eno de nsem no tudwa.
Acknowledge the importance of the Ghana Prison Service. Recognize the crucial role the service plays in maintaining public safety and security. I equally acknowledge the service efforts in providing safe custody, welfare, and rehabilitation of prisoners. Government support and commitment to the Ghana Prison Service will continue, and my commitment is to ensure that our services are really resourced. Highlight the government's effort to improve the manpower needs of the service through recruitment and training. Express your concern about inadequate budget allocation for feeding inmates. Assure you that we will discuss with the finance minister for a better improvement of the service in general. I must emphasize that the importance of rehabilitation and reintegration program for business, highlighting the government initiative to provide skill training and employment opportunity for the inmates. We must also, as government, do whatever we can to ensure that we prioritize the reconstruction of the prisons through the implementation of non-custodial sentencing options. Coming into the yard and looking at the environment and looking at the kind of people that are here. I don't need to be told the challenges that we are confronted with because of the infrastructure and vehicles and what have you. I must say, we must modernize the prison infrastructure, including the development of digital record keeping system, biometric identification and security surveillance. For some, I can imagine the stress that you go through every day. I must admit, we must do everything we can possible to build the capacity as officers, staff of the prison service to be able to meet the challenges that confront you through specialized training in the inmate management, prison security procedure, healthcare, counseling, and mentorship. We look forward to your support in our quest to provide humane and secure custody for prisoners, while also preparing them for reintegration into the society. Our challenges that will require your attention include crucial vehicle situation, disturbing poor conditions of service, and the need to improve inmate rehabilitation programs, which have already been submitted to you. And we pray that your good office will dispassionately look at these challenges and come to our aid. The prison administration and the entire personnel are ready to support you in this endeavor.
Yɛde yɛne ekokopie mu ɛwɔ ɛyɛ asante mantem mu February bosome ne da na ɛtɔso edu ɛbaako na kyerɛ ɛyɛ Council of State no wɔn abato wɔn de hyehyɛ so nanso so no ɛyɛ penchen ne mentime ho ase bi ɛkɔso wɔ hɔ ɛno ntina ekowie ase no na kyerɛ aba wɔn ɛtoyɛ no wɔn enhu ne ti enhu ne kono na nam so ɛma empenifo ɛsan so ɛde ɛyɛ February bosome ne da ɛtɔso edu enso esi hɔ no mo sɛ wɔn nkɔso na wɔn nkɔnkɔto abana we de nyame ayɛ domo abato no ekoso eye asundue mo nananam so ama eye isia na chese wogina ye ehwe ma abato no dwumade nyina ekoso wo kire mu na chese nipa wodi enkunim ewo eye asante mantem no eye yaw owusu bempe na sei no de nsem no go apno so
ediom di ba so mbesi aka ne bi anopa ye wie gusu ana menu ede kata se o mayo mu afiri mu saben so na eka akiri and so there is Socrates and Monty, a Bessie Bomman, I say, me no officially. Omo you move free my dinamo. Until I can do. And we know if you are that kind of son, and nipa at your tuning 85 and at Twabano. Now it's only 86. But according to me, I'm until 85 and acquire that kind of. If you say until no rejected ballots. Enti ewie no ne odi kan nana nkansa boadu ayeboafo nana nyama no 35 aduasa enum mame rosa wanya bi fedika je anya bi nana ya akoko anya bi anazadanti anya bi nana jedu kumani otoso na anya bi nana kusi ampofo anya bi Angela Yenchi Anyabi, Nana Ofuwa Adwa Anyabi, and Daniel, and Elfi Yamu Anyabako, a Jebismak Anyabi, Yaw Owusu Obimpe, Enya 49 votes. Eti, okay, na may see at the Ochu Num Pepe 85 ballot in I see. Eti, Yajawesu Ekase, ene akensi no, Yenuya Yaw Owusu Obimpe 49 votes and a winner. The electoral commission we declared Yaw Obimpe as the winner, and then regional rep for Council of States.
Its Excellency has gotten somebody who can advise him. In the name of Yaw Owusu Bimpe, he has helped the party a lot. He deserves to be the Council of State for Ashanti region. I'll give thanks to all the members who voted for him. We know that we have a long way to go. Ashanti region must be united once again. He's going to work so that Ashanti region has its fair share. We thank His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, everybody.
Asiaya ehwe eye enuane eni kuayo ensemo eso ayetwa netia efre wo mofa wo ne eye West African Food System Resilience adwumayeko aka wo mutiri abomu achese wo de hwehwe yesoronko eba ede ama eye ekuafo na wo mu echiremu a wo man Ghana sede yekra eye ntosu ede efri Burkina Faso ede ba wo man yi emu na ekokodru eye empempenso bi ese se epe eba na ntosu ho akọ eye atwe no wo mo ede hwehwe egu apono so a wo mbehwe se sa nyoma ne nyina ano ebetimi abre eye ase na ebiemu nsoso no kra eye ntosu di free amahodo so Burkina Faso ede eba no ano nsoso etimi esi na Dr. Michael Kwabna Osei a wo ye principal research scientist ede ema eye SIRC wo mo empeni na ekasa ye e wo sa dwumedie no ase.
Currently, you notice that there's a high demand for tomato. But when it comes to production, we are not able to produce enough to supplement this. And because of that, we have to import tomato from Burkina Faso and then European as far as these processed tomatoes are concerned. Now, as to how much can we reduce? So if you look at what Doug indicated, if you are looking at a 5-year term, then in the next maybe 2-3 years, we should be able to reduce more than 50% of the importation. And then in the long term, then we can get to 90 to 100.
The FSRP projects contracted CRI to produce breeder seed and foundation seed. And also, the project has also contracted a private entity to produce certified tomato seeds at Wenche.
And when it comes to seeds or the variety, we are in the right place to provide for them, especially when we have funding. And so we want to thank the Norwegian whereby FSRP, but we call on other donors to come on board and help us. We have a number of varieties to go through and release.
Siaya ehwe eye ya pomuden ho ensem eso sabre wo mo akasa esanse eye cholera ayem to yare no edi atesepa ewo eye enkrampompini mantem ene eye wo man ahodo no nyina eso na no na wo kire mo ese ahonidie ho ensem ekoyi akole yare no soso no ano ebetimi abra ase anase etopo ebetimi etwa ede efre no omayi emwanunti obesre se omayi yemfa eye yensa hohoro enye ayedada edwumadie ankasa sansese se de yare no edi eye atese no ano eye den na eye Professor Samuel Kaba akoreya ene desa ensemwe etu edwa.
The situation is under control. Over the weekend, the Honorable Minister and myself and the team went to Central Region. For the past 3 weeks, there have been no deaths. So meningitis too is under control. So the Honorable Minister will give a press statement. We'll be engaging the Parliament tomorrow, after which the Honorable Minister will give a press statement on both situations. So the most important thing will be cleanliness. We want people to clean their environment, wash their hands before they take any food, and sanitation is part, the two major things that we should be looking at is water and sanitation. And once we are able to do that, if you do remember, if you recall very well, during COVID, we spent almost a year or two with COVID, but with our cholera outbreak, because at the time everybody was clean, at the time people used to wash their hands very well before they go feeding. So that is the call I will call to the people of this country, that cleanliness will drive away cholera. So let's keep ourselves clean. Let's keep our environment clean. Let's wash our hands before we eat.
Say etu atise say ewoye memu a COVID time we be kaya ye buy bebre sanitize bebre ye the support ye ni nro bebre we so yare foforo asan yi ni tibi mu enti no ye ntwen e ma obi e mebo ye pon obi a mebisa ye ho bibia na emo yi na eti o memu enim ne yekoso enti say betimi aboa adenti na say etwen ma obi bebo ye pon mu enti ya ene opepa eda ye papa akuma so ena ode ba say yemra na yemeboa Ghana Funyina through the right agency, which is Ghana Health Service. Na inu papa entrance na to binko ebohu deruno Ghana for ensa betimi akabinet mi e dia manage CSM meningitis and cholera so ha Ghana Funyina.
Abusia ya to akase bono eso edi an yemfa yeni enkonko pie mu ewo eye dwadie mu ne enkofa dwadie mu ekase bon so emeso mu. Na etwa dwadie kase bono eso edi anachese sabreyi Food and Beverages Association of Ghana ayetwanitia efre wo mo fabag wo mo akasa wo mo de adesrede eto Ghana ye photo samfo enimo se wonhwe na to ayede atotototo anonomo de ayenom wo mayi emu no wonhwe na wonyi emfemfiri hono mto mo sre yewra Dr. Kessel Atoforsen ese wo mo madin na eto no se wo meya nkasa ya no mo de beverages ayede eba drinks ayede eba no wonyi emfa emfiri so sanse eneyi enam sa eto na abandada no ede to wo mo eso na nuntini se wo mo ekudwa manso kokoton wo mo enuoma na enya de se wo mo etimi enya empempenso a wo mo ehwehwe na aban no nso so no de wo so mutua ede ma aban no nso enya de se wo mo etimi ejina wo edwadie mu se de se na efata na sei ena wo mo de wo mo nsem no etu edwa
jinsa ya hia bo ho a omo hia nyoma bi a omo ntimi nya na se nye ni manya na aban betimi aye nti bibi aye nso betimi aso mu kakra aboa no tie ba ne headmaster be kasa no kire se ade e hompa ni baby a senkola yare a baby on nombeko asana chese ye don akoyare sabia na se bibisa omo ni bibisa eno nti na ma auditor enu se eno ne ade hia no titru.
In line with the 24-hour economic policy of the government, we are appealing, the Food and Beverage Association is appealing to the finance minister as he prepares to release the first budget of the NDC March. We are asking that the finance minister should reset the manufacturing sector by removing the excise tax that was imposed on the industry in the year 2023. Indeed, we have occasioned at the time that he was a minority leader, there were occasions where we even wrote petitions to them to fight against it. But be it as it may, the finance minister refused and went ahead and then applied it. And when it applied it, it led to negative growth in the industry. It led to massive reduction in operational capacity of most of the players in the industry. Its operational capacity reduced from about 85% to current 38%. There is massive idle plant utilization in the fruit juice industry, and we are calling the government to reset the industry by removing this major nuisance tax, and that will lead to increase in revenue mobilization by the government, because clearly as when this tax is removed, it will lead to increased production efficiency, it will lead to increased sales, it will also lead to increased payment of other allied taxes such as POIE, SNIT, and many other stuff. So
Yeguswa ewo eye edwediemu ensemu na eye de nikopiemu ewo mfimfin mantemu eye awutu senya mensinu emu a ento asoso kwani din ede senya senior high school sabreyi ede enwumeko a wo mo edin de Cosmos Energy Ghana womo akwakoye womo adoye pa eye achese ebi ensiye emfama womo muchiremo na achese eye womo de hiade enei Cosmos fo etimi etwa womo ani abehwe womo na achese womo ensi womo from the biara eda ni nyina eye edankora womo kosi ede ma womo efa womo ayaresa bia ehum na eno na nam so mampanifo yi ekokobie ano womo de eye enase soronkom ema ye papa na ni din ede Mr. Joe Mensa eye Cosmos womo epen se wetimi abeye eye womo emwesanse na eye den ede ma eye suku yi pa se enkwada yi se ebinumu yare na ewose ye mfa womo enko ayare sabia ekwan ya womo ebetwa ebi wo hono krampa na jese enkosi se ka beba na efom na ya na enkwada yi bi eda enunti wei eye ade a womo eni esopa eyi
yensa ya hia bo ho a omoni hia nyoma bi a omuntimi nya na se nye nyoma nya na aban betimi aye nti bibi a yensu betimi aso mu kakra aboa no ti eba ne headmaster be kasa no che se ade e hompa ni baby a senkola yare a baby on beko asana che se ye don akoyare sabia na se bibisa omunyi bibisa eno nti na ma auditor eni se eno ne ade hia no titru ena kopa contractor ye to yi ya ne se oye se bia betimi aso mu ena ma ye ba baba ye ma o nti se de ade no so asen so de wa hu no bia ani age ho me de hia me titru enso mbe hweso ye ize de bia ye nyoma nipa no eja ma o hweso ye e ba sa ne abetu ni afiri na akase ye mpon bia so hweso ye dia ohia mo afofo bi na odbetu ani mo a ne jame ye so atumi age ho se ye ko ni akwakoboa no nti na ma no ba sa se de me ka aban entimi nye ne mani nyina wa ho nti no bibi o ha na o se esuesom ejuma ye na o ye na edi etu wa na se ga se de ni hwe ho nko ani etu o ye na kwa etu o ye na kwa na nipa na che se ye mo a nipa bebre so ho de nse no ndi o se etu hwe ba bi ye ejuma bia no mo bi e betimi aba yare so de se bi o su sa wi yare na mboa nti se wo nti apo a bibi enu ha betimi aye so wo ahoden a na wo ade nti na che se ade bia na eda ya koma so ya pese ye ede boa nti no se de o matimi aye no obi ani age no yeso ye pensa
ede de ani je nkwa Cosmos Energy ayen adom na wabayen clinic for the senior high school school population 1540 nti ede bia na nka mo hia nkla no hia ayaresa chise mo kokrom mo fa car kokrom se car ni wa chise mo ko mo junction no mo high pragia no mo de grani co clinic and also so set village of hope hospital nti we there first aid stop and there were 2 rooms, one for male, one for female, small consulting area, a room for nurse now that's in fact a very beautiful business here. We are very, very grateful to Cosmos. Anybody to make sure so measure facilities here.
Cosmos has no my a broad in association. Now clinical bay a Japadeka second school now. School pending for boys no person. It's be a family and I'm sure there has on the very na yesesi ehun to timi bia se na be ya itirema so ba wa ba to clinic no mo so no aboa omo sanze new schools na nya ni si na mencha ni si nya ni si ya and then na e timi hwe ye hwe han se dan en se ntimi and we also school to the other fast so e be mo din se dan ya Cosmos Energy clinic ya omo da ba che ye ko ya ye ntu ahụ kapụ ya so be timi be hwe su na ene kwa ba ka mo di senya be ya ebechi ama echi ma so aba betu so
abusuafo na ye begina eye ensem yi so na ye de kasebo ni nyina na woni wo mo abedi eye ensawo so ana so obefa mo telephone numbers no wo screen no eso na woni wo mo atwetwen eye enkomo sanso na ebiemu Diamond Grand Real Estate eye Diamond Grand Travel and Tour so eso ya sen ba no eye akwanto ho anuoma bia se wo passport ana wo birth cert na wo pese wonye wo se wontu kwan emfanko amonane so mbeboa wo ama akwanto ho ensem nyina nso so akọ eye totin wo hwehwe metro akwan ya wo mo ewo eye La Paz Tabora number 5 on the Diamond TV ene wo dan kronwa emu ebiemo enso eye Ben Light Enterprise ese sabe e de wakofa ne ma papa ene de ababegu eye edwaman so enutimo momodin a na tutumrika eba eye na kache headlight tail light bumpers navigators ne de keka ho nyina no o sankane ani nyina ewo ho ede ema ne ne ese side mirrors nso so ena wo pa ne nyina no obehwe asiesie aspect wo ka no ama wo ka no so asanso esi ni dadam na de ewo mu crampo ene se wo ko se wo hwe eye ne advert ewo Diamond TV ana che se discount to crampo esanso ewo ho ede emam wo be hu eye Ben Light Enterprise ewo Aboso kan City Light Junction ho ena wo mu edi eye wo mu adwuma nyuma ko we ene dodo na ne so masen a ene anwumre me de eye anwumre no nsia kase ebo no eba ebebe somo medin a ene ekia sikapa dasene ebesan edi ehia ebiem.
Hey, Yankonam, Menquamenam, Makushia Meduya, hey, Abomedam. Hey, Yankonam, bro, I want no son and nam, or say hello, me baby, and you want coming coming now. Ayana WCCS, a friend me, I didn't watch a pee, I check my share pee. You want to make a see when I'm in money down, when I'm in shiny down, say, I over mommy. If I won't peer, then go did it, then go tear, young daddy lumba young. Memfa wumpie yenko sakakra yenko tie nyum ahine ba kisi nyumbi memfa wumpie yenko didi yenko tie nyum dadi lumba nyum memfa usikro na yenko tie nyum ye ubia ahine ba kisi nyumbi
osu hu mi ano hu se ma sheda boots ne ye Gucci lati shada ne ye Prada manante saboga one chain a meda adie besama makoda kwa enye never waiting be this Rasta must to carry one mama ti de binti no Rasta want to marry you ye don't so na eko ye yonti asianko shipu na eko ye odo biti akuma le friendly yesi wa mama dani ni friendly forget ya kika no cranny me bedo wo watamfu weni odo biti akuma le friendly yesi wa mama dani ni friendly forget ya kika no cranny me bedo wo watamfu weni if I won't be ye go to street ye go tie nyum amachi dede nyum if I won't be na ye go numbi ye go ebio uye if I won't be ye go didi ye go tie nyum dadi lumba nyum if I won't be ye go sakakra ye go tie nyum ohire ba kisi nyum
me fa won't be ye go didi ye go tie nyum dadi lumba nyum me fa wumpie yenko sakakra yenko tie nyum ahine ba kisi nyumbi me fa wumpie yenko didi yenko tie nyum dadi lumba nyum me fa usikrom na yenko tie nyum ye wupenu bia ahine ba kisi nyumbi me di bebom ntifa bebom we de na mi anwan bia yenko ni dwom me di bebom atamfo ti bebom we de na mi anwan bia yenko ni dwom yeah, I send back the beat.
Akwabia wenche yedo ya ma akwobie ni ji. Yankonum bi party, yanko didi, yanchichi bi yanroli bi yendidi ye wakoma no.
Me fa umpie, yanko didi, yanko tie nyom, gadi lumba nyom. Me fa umpie, yanko sakakra, yanko tie nyom, bahine ba kisi nyom. Me fa umpie, yanko didi, yanko tie nyom, gadi lumba nyom. Me fa usi krom na yanko tie nyom. Ye upenu bia, bahine ba kisi nyom.